behavior.
That sounds ominous.
It's so you're on your best behavior because George is a brand new member and we don't want to scare him off yet.
Uh-oh. George, vote. Just saying.
We'll let George get logged in and then I'll do this introduction that I'm gonna wing it.
Okay.
I have been studying you and I read up and I think I know enough to do your introduction. So everybody, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully I'll get a couple more people in flight. I think my daughter is threatened with no Christmas if she doesn't call in. So George, great to see you again. Thank you very much for being here. George you're in Sonoma? You're out that way.
Sacramento.
Sacramento. That's right. So before we start, I want to ask, does anybody have any happy bucks you'd like to share?
I'm happy I'm in warm climate.
I was just gonna say you're in your happy place. I don't know if that counts as
I'm in my happy place, so total happy.
Did you learn? Because I got an upgrade on my back.
You got what now?
Oh, I went to the doctor last Tuesday and he says I'm at the 3-month mark in 6 weeks for where I should be. And then he upgraded. I can lift over 5. I can lift 15 pounds now and slightly bend and rotate.
Can you shovel the yard now?
No. Guess who's
probably
shoveling
forever,
36 inches of snow?
Because they much description of that beautiful woman to your probably right.
Yeah. I need to go to your doctor.
I'll share.
Well, it comes with back surgery, so I don't think you want that.
We just got back from Kentucky. We were at University of Louisville all weekend with our son graduating with his bachelor's in physics. I'm very excited about that. I think I told you guys before that was the easiest phone call he's ever had to his parents when he decided to switch majors from education to physics. Like, why are we even having this conversation? So very excited.
You go, boy.
One down.
Yeah.
One to go. We got 6 more months.
Woohoo!
Any other happy bucks to share? All right. Well, Mike Wendell. Want to say thank you very much for joining us tonight. Definitely not against your will. You were not coerced in any way, shape, or form to join me, who is definitely not your wife. So, friends, most of you know Mike. Judy, new to you, and new to you, George. Mike is my fabulous husband of 25 years who kind of sort of fell into the wine industry when I was stationed in Monterey, California. And he answered a newspaper ad for a wine enthusiast.
There's one line. Yeah.
Wine enthusiast wanted.
$10 an hour. And in the 90s, I could be excited about $10 an hour for about anything.
So Mike started his wine career after actually working in restaurants since he was 13. Started his wine career in Monterey, California, and has been dragged all over the United States and back with his wife, who took him to Texas, Colorado, Virginia, Florida, Maryland, Virginia, back to Michigan, back to Colorado, and back to Florida, or back to Virginia. So we've been all over. So he has quite a wealth of knowledge gained through all of that, being in the retail space, being in import, being in distribution, and actually being on the restaurant side as well. So we invited him tonight. We appreciate you being here, honey, to walk us through some wines. And when we do these virtual wine tastings, what we try to do is provide you with some guidance on the types of wine, not necessarily the exact wines, because as Mike was saying, I think right before you called in, George, it's tough for everybody to get the exact same wines. So I hope that everybody is prepped. Feel free to ask questions as we go through, because your wine may be slightly different. You may be tasting different things. We're happy. He's happy. I don't know anything. Mike is happy to walk you through what you're probably tasting, and I am happy to sit here and eat gingerbread cookies while we do so. So with that, Mr. Wendell, I will turn it over to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining and everything. Hopefully everybody had an easy enough time to find things that were I made it as generic as I could, kind of that whole thing. You could get just about anything. So we'll kind of run through it. And if you have different things, we can talk about them. That's easy enough. Did you? Yeah, you might share it. You might as well share that screen so they can see it. And then, boom, we can go down to the next, and then the next after that. So, so the first thing that we got today is we did. I put champagne, prosecco, cava, sparkling. Essentially, that's what I ended up doing. Is there a way I can just see that? So, no, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Anyway, be careful opening, obviously. I ended up going with Gruet. Ooh. One of my favorites. So sparkling wine, obviously there's 3 different ways really we can do it. You can make it. There is the method traditional or traditional or method champenoise as they call it, which is where you make champagne. A lot of Californians will do this also. Cava will also do this. And that is essentially doing the fermentation in the bottle. So going over the wine real quick. Basically, I don't know who has Jerry, what do you have?
Prosecco.
You have a Prosecco.
Yep.
Oh, good
It has
people.
the best Prosecco.
So I represent La Marca. So well done. So Prosecco is easy. That is what's called a Charmat method. That's essentially they crush the grapes, they ferment the grapes, they do the second fermentation all in a big tank, a pressurized tank, and that will create the bubbles, and then they'll bottle it. This one is, I think this is, yeah, Method Champenoise. You'll see it sometimes down on the bottom corners. Method Champenoise, or champagne type style. And what that is they will make a wine. They'll blend different wines together. They add a basically yeast and sugar into it to make, and then put a bottle cap on it, and that will do the second fermentation. And then they take the bottle cap off, put a little bit of sugar and more wine in there, and put the top back on, and that's what's called the dosage. And that's how the champagne does theirs. The other way, which we've all been regaled with, I'm sure, is CO2 injection, which is anybody ever had Andre? Oh yeah, Andre. Anything that's like $5, what they'll do is they'll inject CO2 into it. That's why when people say, "Oh, I get a horrible headache from that," yep, I would too. So you drink enough of it, you're going to get a really bad headache. So, questions? Anybody?
No.
Bueller. So what we did today was we paired it actually with prosciutto and melon. You can do any kind of salty meat,
That
and
was prosciutto ones.
I just rolled them up, made them easy. One of the easiest things you can do. Also, one of the greatest things is champagne. The 2 of the wines that we're going to do tonight are like sommelier's best friends. Champagne and Pinot Noir. When in doubt, we say sparkle it out or Pinot it out. It means basically champagne goes with everything. You didn't grab your Oreos. You're over there if you want. So they go with everything. Champagne also goes with some things that most people, I'll be honest with you see a lot of what we call wine consultants that are kind of not wine consultants. They're just people that are like, hey, I'm better than my other accountant in my office. And they'll tell you this is not couth to do. But this one over here, I introduced her to something, God, that's got to be 20 years ago now.
No, because I wasn't old enough to drink 20 years.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I was definitely old enough to drink 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, you were. Which is Oreos. Oreos and champagne are one of the greatest things.
We did that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that last time, right?
Yeah, we did.
We did
With Cava.
Oreos and
Cava.
yeah, we did Oreos and popcorn.
Oh yeah, with Cava. And then you have popcorn, any salty snacks, fried chicken. In fact, there's one of my restaurants that does a fried chicken night with champagne. That it's huge and everybody loves it. There you go, Jerry. So with champagne, as you can see on the thing, light, crisp, lemony. You can get some yeasty kind of things to it. You guys with Prosecco will get a little bit sweeter green apple kind of thing to it. It's a little easier to recognize on those ones. The white peach and things of that nature on theirs.
Wait, I gotta change mine too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not
No
keeping
problem.
up with the slides.
She's not keeping up.
There,
That's all
okay.
right. So that's that slide is actually how champagne and cava is made. You can see they harvest and then make just a regular wine. They just make just normal wine, and then what they'll do is they'll blend those wines to the flavor they want. And that's the style of the house. They make a style of a house, then they put what's called the liqueur in it, which is yeast and sugar, and then put cap back on. Bubbles go crazy because yeast likes that. Then you have then they say cork and cage. They shoot the top off, put the dosage in, and that's it at the end. Riddling just gets the yeast at the bottom of the bottle. With Prosecco, there's no need for it. It's a lot quicker of a method. You're talking between wine and Prosecco. Prosecco will be like, a couple weeks, month, and wine can be produced in years. So you're talking 2 years basically before the wine comes out, just like a normal wine. It'll be aged, everything will be done 2 to 3 years. But a Prosecco will be 3 to 4 months max, if that. That's why you see a lot more Prosecco. It's a lot more available. It's a lot easier to get, and it's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. Believe me, I sell quite a bit of that La Marca. That's for sure.
Not
Question.
bad, actually.
We threw a couple cranberries in ours.
We cheated.
We cheated.
Go ahead, George.
Yeah.
I got this
How
because we
much-
had champagne last time.
Sugar and wine do you have to add? How much does this dosage vary that you have
It
to?
varies a lot. It depends on the house. So you'll see like this one I have right here is a brut. You'll see ones that say extra dry, which is actually sweeter than this. I know the champagne really messes everybody up. Extra dry is sweeter, then it goes into cremants, things like that. So if you want it sweeter at the end, the dosage that you add in depends on what you want. Some people will call it, there's some of these called zero dosage, which I will warn anyone, that is the geekiest thing that there is in wine. It's right up there with Pet Nat. It's really, really, really geeky because it's basically pure acid.
I was gonna say, or is that is geeky code for really gross?
Yeah, most people would taste it and they'd be like, "Oh my God, why is that? It's burning my lips." Yeah, because they will just not put a dosage in, and it's just straight out dry as you possibly can get. So if you want, you can add in we use 100-point measure, and basically like, okay, if you're at a 60-40, you want 60% sugar and a little bit of wine. But add that in there. And it's actually a liqueur. It's like a simple syrup that they would add in. It's not going to be like granulated sugar. It's just going to be like simple syrup and wine mixed together. And they put it in there. And that usually will not, you'll see sometimes on very small occasions, there'll be a little tiny bit of yeast in there that didn't die for whatever reason, or they get some on the lip or something, and it goes in, and you'll hear sometimes wine shops have a problem where champagne bottles will blow up, like boom. And that's because somebody left yeast in there and then added sugar in, and it's going to just create pressure until it goes. But yeah, it depends on what you want. If you want a sweeter wine, you add more sugar. And it's really as simple as that. It sounds way more simple than it should.
So you just made it sound so
It
easy.
is. It really, it's not an easy thing to do. There are guys actually, people will tell me, "Oh, I'd love your job," but some of these guys have these jobs that, like, there is a guy who, for Veuve Clicquot, their job is just to taste wine and make sure it tastes all the same, and that's it. That's their whole
Okay.
life. Huh?
And the wine that's added is the same still wine? That there's
Yeah, so they'll make in Champagne, I'll use them as an example. They will make Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay grapes. They'll make a Chardonnay, they'll make a Pinot Noir, they'll make a Pinot Meunier, and just like Rombauer would or anybody else. And then what they do is they take that wine and then they blend them together to get what's the house style.
Right.
Veuve Clicquot, everybody will say, well, they make 30 million cases. That's got to be like, that's so easy to do. It's incredibly hard because you got to remember everything's got to taste the same. So, so there's somebody deciding how much Chardonnay and how much Pinot Noir from each thing goes into everything so that 20 million bottles taste the same. And it's got to be just absolutely infuriating, to be honest with you. I would be. It sounds like a horrible nightmare to me, but and then riddling is no longer done by hand. I mean, if you go to Champagne, you'll see it. Probably somebody will be there turning at 45 degrees every bottle. And there are like 2 houses in the world that actually have those guys, but now they're done by a big machine that turns just a little tiny bit every day, just a tiny little bit, and it gets the yeast down at the bottom. They still do and used to, like when it says riddling and disgorging, that riddling gets the yeast down at the end of the bottom bottle, and they will freeze that with nitrogen. And then they'll it's a bottle cap, and they'll open the bottle cap, and then the pressure of the wine will shoot that out, and it seals it right after that. Now they have a machine that puts the dosage in and seals it. But before, they used to have to literally pop a bottle. It would shoot out like at 100 miles an hour, add the dosage, and put the cork in at the same time. So it's not the easiest process in the world. And actually, it's kind of cool. Like this Champagne is kind of a cool thing because it shouldn't exist. It's basically if wine doesn't ripen, it can be made into a few things. It can be made into like fortified wine, sparkling wine, or you can just make bad wine, which a lot of people do. So, but sparkling wine is what they'll do. And sparkling wine was illegal for hundreds of years in France. Actually, it was illegal because they didn't have the glass and the structure to actually hold it. So they would put it into carafes, and they would be in a horse-drawn wagon shaking up. And if you've ever shaken a bottle of sparkling wine and popped it open, they basically had 300 hand grenades in the thing. So they wouldn't allow it. So
One of my lawsuit consulting projects in the past had to do with bad bottles for champagne. And they had a huge issue where the bottles were too thin and they were blowing in a case. And when they blew the case, one blown bottle in case ruins the labels, and therefore they couldn't sell the entire case.
right. Yeah, everything would be gone.
Yeah, so it's coming up with a way to test all that was crazy.
Yeah, the engineering nowadays is amazing, but Jerry, for you to give you an idea, it's actually kind of funny. It's the French and the English always have this argument back and forth about everything. But without the English, the French couldn't make champagne because back in the day, the English had coal, and they could fire a coal fire could make glass harder. And then this at the bottom, the punt, you'll see guys do this. That's not how you don't pour wine like that. That's crazy. You pour it by the bottle. This is like, I don't know why they do that, but it just looks fancy. But the punt is for structure, to keep it strong in there. And then Dom Perignon, the guy who you all know, Dom Perignon, the wine, he was a monk. They always say he invented wine, or sparkling, but they say this romantic thing of he went down to the cellar and said, "Do you see the stars in the wine, my brothers?" And the only problem was he was blind, so he probably didn't see them either. So most likely. So we'll flip over to the next one since let's do let's switch, go past that. There you go. We'll do the Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir and Gamay. I didn't know what you guys would be able to get. I love Gamay, so that's what I got. And it's actually
Do you love Gamay and that's what you got? Or does your wife not like Pinot Noir, so you got Gamay?
it works both ways. I mean, no, I do love Gamay. Gamay is fun. I think Gamay is one of the cooler stories. I love the history of wine. And so, oh, hey, I didn't think about this one before I did it either, did I? I opened it.
Yeah, you were gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna gas it. So, Pinot Noir. So I did Gamay. I did a Morgon, which is a Cru Beaujolais. What do you guys have?
We have a Pinot.
Pinot?
Oh, can't see it.
He's gonna pull out like, oh, what do you
That's
got?
Bryce Estate Pinot.
Hey, Elemental, another one of my wines. You guys are killing it. I'm looking
What?
great today.
Pino.
What, Bryce Estate?
Well, it's
No,
the,
no,
Not in Guatemala.
yeah.
this
Yeah,
is the aluminum can.
I love those.
It's great to take on camping trip because it's light.
Yeah, I love those ones. Elemental is one of my favorite wines that we just got. We just picked them up a while back. Yeah, I love them. Their stuff is great. So,
From Clarksburg.
so good.
yeah. So
Not this
Pinot
late at
Noir,
night. That's good.
I'll go through Pinot Noir real quick. Let me see what it's. Yeah, Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is originally from the Burgundian region of France. So if you see a Burgundy, red Burgundy is Pinot Noir 99% of the time. You're almost guaranteed to be Pinot Noir. And so I always love. There's a movie that one guy is trying to be fancy, and he always says, I just told Amanda this, and I don't think she ever heard me say it before, but he says, oh, a Pinot Noir. Yes. The peanut of the night. and I always think that's hilarious. I don't know why. Sorry. It's terrible. But, Pinot Noir is the grape of Burgundy. It's light, it's clean, it's got good acidity. This is a wine that if you go to a restaurant and you order something weird and you're like, yeah, I'd like the smoked Colombian spiced turkey sandwich. What wine goes with that? The guy's going to say, oh, Pinot Noir, because Pinot Noir goes with everything. It's just easy. Yeah, that's one of the reasons we picked some of these wines too, is holidays are all about what I call shotgun wines. You shoot and you hit just about everything. You just make it easy for everybody. If you decide to get really people, I get them around here. They'll ask their neighbor or their cubicle mate. That Jerry's or Jim's a real great wine guy because he knows that it's made with grapes. So they ask him, and then they tell him some esoteric thing, and then you go get it, and everybody goes, "Oh God, that's so weird." And now you're looking like, well, great. I just bought a bottle of wine and nobody likes it. Because they're thinking like, oh, what would I do to impress everybody? Pinot Noir will impress everybody, and it's really easy to do, and almost everybody likes it. It also became really popular. You guys ever watch Sideways? Yeah, Sideways. When Sideways came out, it became really popular because the guy in there, Paul Giamatti, supposedly hated Merlot. Funny enough, he loved Merlot in the movie, but he hated Merlot. So after that movie, in our business, it became almost impossible to sell Merlot. You just couldn't give it away. So it's kind of abating now. It's only been 25 years. Be nice for it to stop at some point. I ended up with Gamay. Can you click the next one? No? Gamay is a different one, and it's got a cool story too. I think Americans like rounder, richer wines generally. They like more fruit. That's why Meiomi is one of the most popular wines in America, and Belglas is the most popular Pinot Noir of higher level. Those wines have actual Syrah put into them to make it smoother and easier to drink. Gamay is just a smoother, easier Pinot Noir. the story of Gamay goes back to Burgundy during the Black Plague. There was obviously people weren't tending their vines; they were dying. People were dying. So if you don't tend your vine, as George may know, if you don't prune your vines and tend them, they will mutate every single year. It'll change. So by law, if you just don't do anything with your vine, some places will not call you, like in Burgundy, if you don't tend your vine, often they just won't even call you Pinot Noir anymore. You won't be able to call it Pinot Noir because it mutates. Just like anything else in nature, it tries to find the easiest path. So during the Black Plague, Pinot Noir.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
I was just saying we have to. I've never tried a Gamay. We have to try it.
Yeah, it's just a rounder, smoother one. So during the Black Plague, people died off. They weren't tending their vines. Pinot Noir mutated, and it mutated into Gamay. It's a bigger berry that's makes big bunches, where Pinot Noir is very small and very bitter and very tightly grouped. And the birds like bigger berries. Shocking, right? But this will tell you that all politicians have been the same forever. Back then, there was a Duke of Burgundy that came into power. He's like 18 years old. And he came into power and the Black Plague ended. And he said, people went out in their fields and they were seeing these grapes, Gamay, and they said, oh, God has given us these grapes. It's amazing. They're new. It's a new variety. It's so lush and everything. And he said, no, I stopped the plague. My coronation did it. And he said, no, look at the grapes. And he said, no, my coronation did it. And so then they said, no, it was the grapes. God did it because he gave us these grapes. And he finally had enough. And he outlawed all Gamay and a few other grapes. So Pinot Noir and Chardonnay and Alagot were the only grapes that could be grown. So he just outlawed the grapes that God supposedly gave them.
Wow.
And took all the credit for stopping the Black Plague, like every good politician should. What did we mix with this one? Oh, we did. So we went really easy on this one with the Boursin, the cheese, and crackers. A simple cheese, simple spreadable cheese, crackers. Oh,
Simple.
simple, unless not to eat.
Well, that actually goes really well. Not that I question. But that goes really well.
Did you hear that, Jerry? Yeah. Boursin, actually, I like the cheese personally. A lot of people will, I'll get a lot of these wine snobs that'll be like, oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do a spreadable cheese. I'm like, why not? There's no reason not to. It's perfectly good cheese. And I'll be honest with you, we were in Spain last year and you saw cheeses like this. If you go to France, you'll see cheeses like this and they'll be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care.
We discovered this about 2 years ago. It's really good. This is our spreadable one we like.
Yeah, you can make.
We've been doing like these one pan meals where I can cut them in four and have dinner and lunches, and there are lots of chickpeas and very Mediterranean flavors. And one of them was one of those things in Boursin. In the middle of it, you bake the whole thing and you mix it up and it makes a sauce. And I was like, oh, this is great. We could have Gamay with that. It'd probably be
You
really
could have
good.
Gamay with that. Yeah, this is true. The easiest dinner in the world probably is the Boursin. You take tomatoes, throw them in a pan, saute them, throw Boursin in the middle, like you said. You make that, and you throw spaghetti noodles in there. You've got a sauce.
You wouldn't know we just ate dinner.
That sounds
Yeah,
great.
you
Yeah,
know.
it does.
I couldn't find anything spice in the grocery store I went to today, so I just bought this simple cream cheese, which I think is a lot like Philadelphia cream cheese. Now it's awesome. It just goes great.
Yeah, it's
I have
one
a
of those
cheap
things-
jalapeno here at night, I think, but still.
That's impressive, actually. They had that. Well done. But yeah, it's Gamay is one of those ones that's just a little rounder, a little softer than Pinot Noir, a little bit more approachable. So if people like what is it? What I just said, Meiomi. if they ever have Meiomi, if any of your friends are like, oh, I love Meiomi, and you bring this is what's called a cru Beaujolais. It's got a name on it. It's Morgon is the area. And if you get a decent Beaujolais, you're good. I just probably would steer away from Beaujolais Nouveau unless it's the third Thursday of November. That's when they release it. It goes bad within like 2 weeks. And there'll be a wine shop you'll walk into and you'll say, can I get a Beaujolais? And they'll be like, yes, I can give you this one. And they're just trying to unload it because it goes bad quick. So, but Beaujolais, regular Beaujolais, Village, or Beaujolais Cru is great. Easy stuff. So, any questions? Bueller.
You're gonna try that though.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll find that.
Yeah, Myers should have it. Honestly, Myers has a pretty good selection, to be honest with you. They're pretty good. And you guys have Myers, and then there was a finer food store down by the other Myers down in Grand Haven. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember.
that?
By the Myers?
In Grand Haven, there was another finer food store. I can't remember the name of it. Not Fortino, but Fortino's would have it, 100%. Yeah, Fortino's would have it there.
There's not much in the way of a wine selection up here in Muskegon, so I have to go somewhere else.
Well, if you go to Fortino's, it's owned by good friends of ours. So
Yeah, they're great people.
they're church friends.
Yeah.
If you want liquor or beer, there's lots of places. If you want good wines, not so much.
Yeah, you're slim pickings. we'll
Yep.
say.
You're down to Chicago Playland if you want that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll go on to the next one. Because I'm just trucking through here. Please stop me if you guys have any questions or want to know anything. Shiraz. So I have a kind of an affinity for Shiraz. I like it personally, Syrah or Shiraz.
I'm just drinking it.
Are Syrah and Shiraz the same thing?
Yes, Syrah and Shiraz are the exact same grape. And there's actually kind of a funny reason why the name
The
is.
way it's spelled.
Oh, what's that?
I said I just went with what was on the list, and it was what ended with Z, so that's what I got.
Yep, there you go. So they're the same grape. The French really kind of came into their own with Syrah down in the Rhone Valley, and they have it there.
Okay.
The Australians started making Syrah, but if you don't know that the Australians and the French have a little bit of a rivalry also, and they like to egg each other. So the Australians kind of came out of nowhere with this idea that Syrah wasn't Syrah, it was Shiraz because they said it originated in Iran in a town called Shiraz. They're wrong, but it's okay because it was funny for about 25 years. But everybody knows the Australian version is Shiraz now. So they also put it in a different bottle. Normally they come in different bottles in France. So they put it in a Bordeaux bottle just to irk the French also. So I always love that the Australians are a lot like, well, I say like Americans, but
I was gonna say it's different smell.
Yeah, I don't care for that.
yeah. Oh my God. No, I'm just kidding. Totally fine. Shiraz ends up with a lot of spice. This generally goes really good with any big things. What did we end up doing? This one?
Yep, cheddar cheese and cranberries.
Yeah, we want cheddar cheese and cranberries. Honestly, if I'm gonna do this again.
What brand do you have?
I have Milton Park. I just found a Milton Park one.
Oh, the only Shiraz the only thing I can find that said Shiraz or Shiraz, it says "Welcome to Australia." That was it.
So when I went out, I was looking for tiny bottles because it's just me here, okay? And for just a couple days. So I couldn't find a tiny bottle of Shiraz, so I found a tiny bottle of Tempranillo, which I really liked last year for the first time I had it. So I got that instead. It works well.
Jerry, you only had Tempranillo for the very first time last year.
Yeah.
I feel like I have failed you as a sponsored exchange student to Spain right now.
Oh, you failed me so many ways, but whatever.
That was amazing.
Wow.
That was
That was
brilliant.
back when you were never mind. I won't go
I know.
there.
I know what he was gonna say.
Cheers.
So yeah, so click to the next
Oh,
one.
yep, next picture.
Mike's
So-
improved her taste.
I shouldn't have. That was the thing, is when we first got married, she was like Sauvignon Blanc and sweet wines. And I was like, no, we've got to change this. And then over the years, she's been drinking these wines and there are certain perks of this job I've ever had in my life. And one of them is for about 18 years, I haven't bought wine. Normally I don't buy wine too often. But especially at retail prices, never do that.
Gas.
No, it's all right. I'll finish it. It's not.
But,
Anytime somebody mentions sweet wines, all I can think of is Mogan David.
Oh,
It's kosher for Passover.
yeah, there you go. Mogan David. It's MD 2020 is kosher actually.
Mad Dog 2020. Yep.
Yep, that's Mogan David 2020. Here's one for you on that one. Sorry to diverge off this one, but Mogan David gets most of their grapes from Welch's.
Wow.
Yeah, Welch's grape juice.
Leftover grape jelly, huh?
Yep, grape jelly. You go. What gets
Well, that's the Hallmark wine.
story? So Shiraz goes great with any meats. Shiraz. I think it is the darkest wine. It can get the heaviest. Everybody always thinks of Cabernet as the heaviest wine. It really isn't. If you've ever had one of her favorite wines is the thing called Dead Arm, which is a disease in a vine, but they call it that. But Dead Arm Shiraz, and that is just big. It's monstrous wine. It's giant tannic thing. You have to have a steak, basically, for it. But Syrah can kind of go the gamut. You can have it very delicate.
Berries.
Have it with duck or something like that. It can go all the way to steak.
Berries. Those will go good in
The
salad.
cranberries?
Yeah,
I don't make salads.
I know.
We paired it with just a cheese and cranberries just for fun, just kind of an easy, simple little thing to do. You can, to give you an idea, just as something else, if you took this and you stuck it on a, decent little sausage, you'd be rock star right now. Yeah. If you can get off of there. Can't get the cheese off of the thing. So.
I wish I knew Shiraz and Syrah the same. I was looking for as local as possible wine, and Lodi has some Syrah, not
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say you're right in the middle of it. Just north of you is you've got Lake County's just north of you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean they've got a ton of Syrah up there.
Yeah.
Lodi's got a ton of Syrah. Old Vine Syrah out there there's a ton of it out there. We've got a good friend, Greg LaFollette, who lives out in Sonoma. He is one of the great winemakers of the world, and he's hilarious. He lives in a 1,300 square foot home that doesn't have heat. It's just got a fireplace, and it's in the middle of the vineyard. I always think, when people go, "Oh, it'd be such a glamorous life to live as a winemaker." Yeah.
I was trying to find wine grown within 30 miles of where I live. So Napa Sonoma was out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Napa Sonoma was out.
I had to go looking.
But yeah, you would have been Hangtown Red is mainly Syrah.
Okay, I did not see
Lake
that.
County, they're Boger Winery and all those guys. So
Yeah, Boga, I saw. Yeah.
yeah, Boger's that's the first wine I ever sold as a rep, to be honest with you.
I always laugh. Mike tells a story about like winemakers are not as. I tell people winemakers are they're just farmers, right? Like I mean they're just farmers. And I was 19, 20, might have been 20 when he moved out to Monterey so we could do our pre-Cana before we got married. And he invited me to go to a wine tasting at Talbot. And I was standing in the corner of the tasting room in a heated conversation with this man about my disdain for United Airlines. And he's wearing just kind of a nicest shirt and some short khaki shorts or jeans and Huarache sandals. and we're kind of back and forth at each other. And I see Mike from across the room. His eyes got about this big, and he, Amanda, have you met Rob Talbot? So, but you never would have known that this was Rob Talbot, like the patriarch of the Talbot Vineyard here that I was standing at. But
He
he's
also,
just a farmer, right?
yeah, he's a farmer. He's funny too because they own. If anybody wears ties, they may know Talbot ties. Talbot ties are $80 to $300, $500 a tie.
Wow.
They're very, very expensive ties. Rob Talbot is a hippie who I've never seen wear a tie in his whole life.
I've heard that name.
Good man.
Yeah, never seen him wear one tie in his life. And he still has a VW bus from the 60s that he's kept around forever. So yeah, that guy and his son had dreadlocks. So the family that makes the $300
This is
ties,
probably worth $300, man. Get trim me off.
they never have the ties. So yeah, so Shiraz is your bigger one. If anybody's doing like a beef Wellington, things like that, easy one to do. Cab is great. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But if you've got 3 or 4 dishes sitting on a table, that's the thing with holidays. There's a table full of food, and it's all kinds of different things. You might have cheese spreads. You might have prosciutto and melon. You might have cheese and cranberries. You might have a beef Wellington on the table. What can you put in your glass that kind of goes with everything? Isn't gonna bother anything? Pinot, sparkling, definitely Shiraz. Can you grab the reason? And that's the easiest thing you can do. Those guys right there. Now the next one, we're gonna move back up here. Also goes almost. Also, I would tell you guys, try the different things with different things. So I just tried the Shiraz with the cheese spread, and that was great. That rocked. That's killer. And honestly, the sparkling with any of these would go well. Just take a drink. That's how we rinse.
Rinsing the wine glass with wine.
Everybody always thinks rinse with water. We always tell people is never rinse with water, because water has chlorine and it changes it. If you're judging wine, which we're not, well, I mean, you're judging me, but it's a whole different story. All right, so one of my favorite wines is Riesling. It's one of my first things I ever fell in love with. This one is S.A. Prum. It's blue. It's called Blue Slate. It's a Trocken. Riesling. Boop, boop, boop. There you go. That's what I grabbed. Just happens to be one that I represent, so a little easier to grab. Riesling is one of those ones that you'll hear people, if anybody ever tells you they're a wine person and they say, oh, Riesling is terrible, I can't drink it, it's horrible. They're not a wine person, because Riesling can do everything. It's really amazing. It can go from the driest of the dry to the sweetest of the sweet. And it's the godfather of all wine. Jerry, is that a beer?
No, it's trying to figure out what grape it is. It label says, well, the company is Pata Negra, and it says Rueda.
Oh, it's
Rueda de Verdejo.
It's Verdejo. Yeah, it's Verdejo. Yeah.
My choice was this or a big bottle of Riesling. So
Yeah, you're all good. You're all good. Rueda will actually go with everything. Maybe not the gingerbread cookies, but we'll let
that's
you.
okay. I couldn't find gingerbread cookies here for the life of me.
Shocker.
The only thing I could find was this huge gingerbread house kit.
Oh, you should have done it.
Hey,
So
what do I mean, come on.
risk off biscuits.
Oh, that'll
Awesome.
go well, actually.
Yep.
So the next slide I put down, I threw this up here, and this is where most people just don't. This is an easy guide for German wines, really. German Rieslings. Now, if you get American Riesling, I will tell you 98% of the time, we're looking at what's called Spätlese, Spatlese, Spätlese. And that is what we say in that middle is the category of PDO wine. What we would call it is sugar content at time of pick. The minute they pick it, they test it in a refractometer and they categorize it. And they say, oh, this is dry. This is Cabernet. This is a little sweeter. This is Spätlese. This is Auslese. Going all the way down. Once it gets to Baron Auslese, you're talking all really sticky sweet. And Trocken Baron Auslese at the bottom, you might even be able to put that on your pancakes. I mean, it's that sweet. It's maple syrup, basically. It's real sweet.
Oh,
It's as sweet as it gets. Almost nothing cabinet level. I mean, you're talking like in the United States, probably 1% of the German Rieslings that come to America are cabinet or even Trocken. Trocken is dry. So they're almost nothing's dry that comes to the United States. And I asked,
you just got a dry Riesling out of it.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, there are some, you'll see them, but as a whole, like as a whole category, it's about 1 to 2% will be dry. You'll see them in different restaurants and different places, but this one will say like Riesling dry Mosel. This one's not that sweet. They're not that dry. No, this one's like, oh, I'd say dry green apple. Maybe you think something else.
Right now it tastes like a windmill cookie.
Honestly, there's no wrong. I will tell you this is the first time I tasted wine back when I was in Carmel, California. I knew absolutely nothing. And my bosses were all like basically master somms. They were all top level, the top of the top for wine. And the very first wine I tasted was a Dolcetto from Italy ever. And I tasted it with them and they asked me what I tasted. And I said, it tastes like Flintstone vitamins. And you saw 3 sommeliers look at me like I had 3 heads, and then they all went, and they tasted it, and they went, well, he's
Yeah.
right. It actually does taste like Flintstone vitamins. He's like, you're correct.
So that's when you got the job, right?
No, that was actually, that was funny enough. That's when they about 3 weeks later, we were standing there, and I was still stocking the cooler, and they asked me something, and I said, well, isn't it like this wine that blah 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 blah, and I described a wine, and they said, how do you remember that? And I said, I've never forgot anything I've ever tasted. Why? And they go, well, people don't do that. That's not normal. And I found out that I evidently don't forget anything I've ever tasted. So the tasting
So
parts
you have a talent.
yeah, I have a talent.
Thank God, because I don't remember anything I've tasted. So we're a good combo.
I would say this is it can be a talent and a curse, because if you've ever tasted anything bad, you forgot. I didn't. So there's a lot of bad things I've had too. And I'm like, oh, that was the worst thing in the world. So yeah, so we paired this with the gingerbread cookies, which Amanda has already jumped into.
Yeah, me too.
Ooh,
Wait,
what
we
are those?
actually also paired this with some Brookstone chocolate covered blueberries that happened to be on this.
Yeah, they happen to be there. So I was like, well, try that. That would actually go with the Shiraz too. So depending on your Riesling, I don't know what do you guys have up there in Grand Havenville or Muskegon?
Well, actually, brother-in-law bought it. It's Yakima Valley, Washington. Anchor Roots Vineyard. So just a Riesling 2024.
Yeah. So that's going to be, I know the one. It's going to be Spätlese level. So you guys are probably getting more like a sweet green apple, maybe something like that.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad wine.
We don't normally drink Riesling, but it's not bad.
George, did you get a Riesling from close? Oh, he's not talking to me.
He's not there yet.
Drinking.
Oh yeah, you got finished red. Yeah, I mean, most Americans are going to be in the sweet level. And when I talked to like Ernst Lucen about it, I asked him, I said, why do you bring over only sweet wines? Why do you do this? And he literally didn't even speak. He pointed to a case stack. This was in Colorado of 100 cases of sweet Riesling. And he's like, that's why, because he can make money on us. He's not dumb. You'll see also people do this is they'll go to Germany, get on a tour and get on a bus. And then they say to me, they'll say, no, I went on a tour. They only gave us sweet wine. And I always tell them, I don't know if you know this, but buses have radios. And what they did was radio ahead and said, yeah, I have a bunch of Americans. Pull out the sweet wine. And they did. And they know what they're going to sell because Americans like sweet. We do. And we like rounder, sweeter wines. There are some very, 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 very dry wines in Riesling. She's had some of them, and they're beautiful wines. Sometimes when you lower the sugar, you raise the fruit. So you get down to a 1% residual sugar, and it ends up being like a crisp green apple that you bit into, where it just makes your mouth water. It's really cool. And you can see some cool things in Michigan. Actually, we have a really good in Michigan. You guys have a really good selection of Rieslings in the state. Shocking, I know that there's Germans that might want wine in the state of Michigan. Probably that Frankenmuth town, but
No. No, we go up to Bryce State, Mission Point.
Oh, okay. There's one up there, 45 North, also that used to be really good. I don't know if that's still around.
Been there.
Still is pretty good. They got a few that we like, that many.
Yeah, and then Ed O'Keefe, he runs Chateau Grand Traverse.
Yep.
That's
Grand
his-
Traverse?
Oh, that was
No,
nuts
don't
there.
like Grand Traverse.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I just know him. So
Yeah, we started with some friends of ours that had never been to Michigan for wines. Unfortunately, we started at Bryce Estate, and then we took them to Chateau. We took them to Grand Traverse and a couple others. It was kind of like, okay, after starting at the best and going downhill, I was like, why'd you do this?
why'd you do that to me? That was not nice. Yeah. No, I mean, Riesling can grow in a lot of places. That's the great thing about it. Every state in the union can grow wine. Every state in the union also grows things they shouldn't grow. Yeah. I always tell people is things like this, like Alaska can grow oranges. You don't want to be buying Alaska oranges though. And, I'm sure that in Miami, they could grow wheat, but that's not where wheat really grows. Potatoes might grow there too, but you don't want them, and that's the thing is people go, but we can grow it. I'm like, yeah, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Michigan definitely is a Riesling state. It's right on line. Now, the funny note I always note with this one is like 45 North always says this. Well, we're on the same plateau or on the same latitude as Germany, we're in Burgundy area. It's 45 degrees, 45 North. That's why we can grow it this way. I'm like, I often always remind them that so is South Dakota. Like there's a lot of places on that line that can't grow wine. It's more than just where you're at it is definitely where you're at in the world, but you also have to have certain things. So water near you, certain different things, elevations, sun angle, things like that can do it.
There's about 10 wineries in Michigan between Leelanau Peninsula and Mission Point that are on that 45th parallel that do good wines, Rieslings and dry Rieslings. So
I always tell them that it's not the parallel as much as it is really where they're at. I mean, you can grow. Well, I would put it this way: is Spanish wines are really good, as Jerry is finding out tonight. Again, at Tempranillo, great. You can't grow Tempranillo in Tennessee. It's terrible. It's on the same plateau. It's the same latitude as Spain, but you don't want it. There's no way you'd want it. But
a lot of limestone down there.
Yeah, you don't want it. It's soil type. It's all kinds of things that go into it. And so there's pockets that can definitely do it. Up in Grand Traverse area, they can definitely do it. And they're finally getting to the point where they're doing some really cool stuff. So
It depends. It depends on the year up there. It
yeah,
just depends on what the weather happened during the year and stuff because but I used to love it when Chateau Chantel, is that the right one, Rory?
Yeah.
They used to make all their own wines originally when we first toured them, and now they bring in a lot from Chile. And I like the wines they used to make better than the ones they bring in from Chile myself.
Well, you got to remember though that the daughter of the place married a guy that was a winemaker in South America.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
but it's one of those things like in Colorado, we used to say we can make really great wines in Colorado one of every 3 years. But you can't really have a business model on that. So I'm sure what they're doing is they're saying, you know what, we can always have Chilean wine. We'll try to make ours and then bring it in. I imagine that's what they're doing. They do that here in Virginia. In Virginia, we have this lovely thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called humidity. Yeah. Wine doesn't love it as much as you think it does. And in California, it's really, you guys out there have like I used to talk to wine consultants from France, and I was out in California at the time, and they used to jokingly say, like, you guys have the easiest job as a California wine consultant.
Try
Like, is it a good year? Yeah, it's a good year. Or is it a great year? Is it a good year or a great year? Good year or great year? And French wine consultants are like, oh, Bordeaux, is it a 50-point year or is it a 100-point year? It could be, it'd go like this, where California was pretty steady all the way through the 90s, through the 2010s. I mean, we had a couple bad years with fires, of course, but yeah, it's amazing. People don't realize how special Napa Sonoma is until they really see other places in the world. She was in Rioja last year, and she got to see how hot it can be and how rough the terrain is. You go to California, they're beautiful vineyards, and the weather is 90 during the day and 65 at night. That's not fair. That's just not fair. I mean, winemakers around the world are looking at that going, that shouldn't happen.
That's why we pay a little high taxes.
Yeah,
exactly. Is that it? That's it.
It's to keep the weather in check.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, that is one thing. The saying in California is, how do you make a small fortune in the wine business? You start out with a large one.
Yeah. There's a lot of industries that way.
What other questions we have, friends?
Yeah, any questions? You can shoot anything, but you didn't give the greatest.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize there was another slide.
There was another slide. It was my end slide, which is
it's the
crescendo of the whole thing.
Reshare it.
Sorry.
I know.
See, hold, please.
There.
Come on, Amanda, reshare it.
I'm sharing. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Jeez, guys. There you go.
There.
Enjoy.
Wow.
Because it's not.
I'm
Christmas.
sorry, that's not Christmas.
It's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Towers. That's my saying.
Awesome.
I will say it is basically Die Hard is basically just Harry Potter. It's a guy who walks around in no shoes, hiding from Alan Rickman the whole time. And then Alan Rickman falls off a thing.
Yeah, and then Alan Rickman falls off a tower.
And then he pops up in Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's very poetic, actually, that Alan Rickman throws Dumbledore off the tower. Spoiler alert. All right, Michael, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Just a question. Jerry and I have been talking. Gewürztraminer. Is that do you drink it cold or warm?
I would say, it's probably 45 degrees. I wouldn't go too cold. Gewürztraminer can go, 40 to 45 degrees is where you'd want it, probably.
Okay.
It can go up into the 50 degrees, probably, if you really, really were kind of playing with it. The great thing with Riesling and Gewürztraminer, I think, and this is my geekiness coming out. What I like to do is I like to chill these down really cold and then open the bottle, pour a glass, and we'll go through the bottle. And Riesling and Gewürztraminer are very cool because they change as they go. As you go through the bottle, it changes. So the first glass is not the same as the last glass. It's a different wine.
Because
Cool.
of the.
Is that because it warms up, or is that because it just your body changes with it?
No, it warms up. It warms up and it releases basically different aromas, different feels. So it gets softer and rounder and more complex as it goes. So, it might
That may
be
that may be the reason
too.
some people prefer it warm.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people will prefer it warm because they like that style. Some
Mhm.
people like it cold because they like that style. And it's very cool with Rieslings, especially. I think they're the granddad of all wine. As you go through the wine, it changes and it evolves and it moves and it kind of like it's a living thing. And it's really, really cool. It's like
Yeah,
when Psalms will
Yeah.
say open the bottle for a while and let it breathe. But with Rieslings, you don't have to do that. So
yeah, Gewürztraminer is one of my favorite.
yeah, Gewürz is one of the cooler wines. So anything you do with Riesling, you can do with Gewürz. Gewürz tends to be, well, you can get it sweeter or you can get it drier also. It depends on which one you get. But like if you're getting Alsatian, French style Gewürztraminer, it's bone dry. If you're getting German or American, definitely is sweeter.
No,
Yeah.
the winemaker at Bryce, he does everything in the French style.
Yeah, so he probably does a Pinot Gris instead of Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Yeah, so things like that. So, any other questions?
Not for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate
I'm
you being
good.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I got 3 bottles of wine I gotta drink.
I know it's funny because he pulled out, he's got this thing called a Coravin that is terrifying, actually, if you look at it. This is a needle that goes into the cork. So you can actually put this on and you push the needle through the cork and you can pour wines. And that was the intention for
All of them, but
all of them.
I ended up buying I ended up buying quicker than I thought, and I bought a bottle that was a screw top.
Well, there's 2 over there that are screw top, so that didn't happen. And then we were chatting and not paying attention, and we didn't do that to the one.
But
that we
this
have.
is how you do it.
So we have a few more open bottles than we care. I think when I sent it out last year, and I should have given you guys a heads up. When I sent it out last year, I also sent the link to a
No
gas
Great,
that
thank
you
you.
can buy. And I apologize if it's a little late for this now, but in the future, if you don't want to drink a whole bottle because you're a quitter, you can buy this gas right here, and you basically spray it on top of your wine and put the cork back in, and it'll sit on top of the wine so it keeps it from oxidizing.
It's the same wine or same gas that I'm putting in this right here.
So
It's argon.
it's called Private Preserve. You can get it.
Well,
It
I
ain't-
don't use any of that stuff. I just use a vacuum.
Yeah, well, you can
So
also use it back.
this will be better than a vacuum. Vacuums will work,
Uh-oh.
but
Well,
Well, now he's gonna have to buy it. Thanks very much.
sorry, it's
No, but
actually
it's
so.
okay. It's only like, I think it's like $12.
No,
not
it's like
Okay.
$7.
even less.
It's like
The better
$7.
solution is just drink the bottle.
Well, that's what I say.
That's what
I
she
mean,
said. Like,
Corks are for quitters, if you know what you mean.
so this one
well,
goes.
the vacuum thing's only to hold it overnight or till the next day sometimes. So I mean,
But not-
normally it doesn't.
We've thrown gas on the top of a wine and let it sit for multiple days without any issues, and it tastes great. So
Yeah, you can use that.
That's blasphemy. Multiple days.
multiple days,
Yeah.
I know. Well, I'm just, okay, Rory, let's be honest. It's not like it didn't drink wine for multiple days. It just drank differently.
I will give her credit. The amount of wine that I bring home that's open is something that no human can actually consume.
Where's this going? The amount of wine this woman can drink.
No, the amount of wine that I bring home that is open, I will go on tasting sometimes and have 24 bottles. And you come home with 24 bottles of open wine. A, my neighbors love me.
Yeah.
But B, we end up with 12 bottles of wine that are open. There's nothing you can do. You're not drinking that much
We
wine.
do tastings.
Okay,
That's-
so
that's
if you,
a lot of
so,
wine.
so if you come home with that on Monday, what are you doing Thursday?
So here's the ultimate question. How do you get your wife to drink more wine?
Oh, how do I get it?
So Jerry, I will have to
No,
say,
my wife.
Oh,
but I will say,
She's a
like,
lot better person when I can get her to drink more
You got
wine.
ask for shit. I'm still hungry.
I was gonna say dating, but it was when you moved to California. So when we were first engaged, I was not a wine drinker, right? He had to like slowly turn me into the monster I am today. It was like
True story.
gateway wine. And we went from sweet wine to not so sweet white wine to
That stuff.
like red wine to now I don't like anything red that doesn't stain my teeth.
Almost got
yeah. I mean, honestly,
a couple
I
of
tell
backup
people
things in
it's
there.
different things that get people interested in wine. How I got interested in wine was not just wine. The flavor and everything was interesting, but it wasn't that really interested me. For me, it was history. It was the history of it. It's why wine is there. I just did a whiskey dinner and somebody said something about, well, they made whiskey because the water was bad, which is a total falsehood. People didn't drink wine and whiskey because water was bad. They drank all that. They did all that because, and this will sound terrible, especially for anybody trying to lose weight like me, but wine is a way to store calories. If you grow grapes, if you don't have refrigeration, you don't have all these things, hundreds of years ago, how do you keep calories from the harvest? Well, you had grapes, you can have them for a month or so, but they would go bad. But if you crush them and put them into a bottle and age them, or put them into oak and then age them and put them into a bottle or whatever, or a vessel, you can keep that for a year. And now you have calories for a year. And so people wouldn't have, as Jerry, you may know, we've talked about this before, you may know, people wouldn't have like a big meal of meat and all these things. They might have a small amount of protein, a small amount of vegetable, and they would have a stout. And a stout is half a loaf of bread in calories. So you would just have that as your meal. And in wine, it was the same thing. Whiskey is the same thing. You just distill it. It lasts years. You don't have to worry about it. So
I always did love Guinness.
yeah, that's like they say Guinness is good for you, but Guinness is the older version of Guinness, especially the older porters would be even worse. Porters would be like, I don't know how, it would be the equivalent of eating almost a half a loaf of bread at one sitting. That's the calories. And so if you were somebody who didn't have much, you were a poor peasant and you ended up with a little tiny piece of meat, little tiny piece of vegetable, and one of those, well, you could survive. You were okay for the day. So
you can drink all that wine and still legally ride a motorcycle?
No, absolutely not.
This is two separate systems here.
Oh,
Why do you think we did this? We did this virtually, George.
I never understand those guys that are like, hey, let's do a winery tour with motorcycles. I'm like, nope,
How about
nope.
no?
How about no? Let's not do that.
AB Anheuser-Busch just announced they're closing the brewery in Fairfield.
Oh,
Yeah, and in my Rotary Club, not this Rotary Club, my American River Rotary Club, there's one woman who just retired from ABV, and she was saying the reason is people are consuming less.
they are.
It's
100%.
beer and wine, both are feeling it.
Yeah, beer, wine, and liquor. All of them are feeling it.
Yeah.
We in fact just signed on with another company called Ritual, which is non-alcoholic spirits. So we do a whole line of non-alcoholic spirits now. You're seeing the industry change a little bit. I think it goes ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. It always does. You see, before 2000, in the 90s, it went up. In the 80s, it was way down. It was hard liquor, but it wasn't wine. And so you would see that type of thing. And before that, it was beer, 100% beer. So
See what happens when you legalize marijuana?
that's that's a funny
Maybe
thing.
that's why I don't see too many motorcycles out there. So they just switched.
That's
Yeah.
good. I'd rather they were not motorcycles.
It's actually interesting is some of the places are making like Las Vegas did this, Jerry, is how they did it, I think is the way it's going to be in the future is Colorado just said marijuana legal, whatever. Where Las Vegas, what they did, or Nevada and Las Vegas in particular, said all marijuana licenses are tied to alcohol licenses. So
Oh, wow.
a liquor distributor had to be doing the marijuana licenses. So the company I work for does do that out in Las Vegas. We sell legally, we sell marijuana to the things. And why they did that is because we're already used to federal regulations of control.
Yeah.
We get it. We understand that like everybody's been briefed on who not to sell to and who to sell to and only sell to a vendor that's approved and things like that. Where Colorado just kind of let it go, like, yeah. And it was just like this craziness. You're seeing that a lot more. In fact, Virginia's talking about that right now. And they would just do every single alcohol vendor could get a marijuana license if they wanted it. But you couldn't just like Jerry Jackson just go, I'm on a marijuana license to distribute. They'd be like, yeah, no. You don't have the infrastructure already. We have the controls and everything, so you don't break into a liquor wine company's warehouse, so yeah, it is 100% changing. You're seeing it change a lot, and I think you'll see some of these brands go away. I think there's going to be probably a purge of brands in the next 10 years. So. Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Well done, Jerry. Well done.
You were holding out on me all these years, man, big time. I love this.
Oh, Tempranillo is one of my
We got to
favorites.
get Bryce Estate to start.
If I ever go somewhere and I don't recognize anything on the wine list, the Tempranillo is where I go.
One of my favorites.
It is my favorite.
She has a guy, Ariel, which we tasted the last time, which we had here that last time. I think she has a crush on him. He's like
No, I have a crush on his wine. There's a difference. So we have drank. I can't venture to guess how many bottles of this wine we have drank. A few. Mike's about to prove this is the cork board that Maggie made out of the wine that we have drank. Is this all Ariel?
Ariel.
Okay,
Yeah.
she did that last Christmas. We've drank at least that much since then. Anyway, so we walked into this winery in Spain, in tiny town just outside of Rioja, Spain, Pesquera. And he has this beautiful brand new facility. And it's very shiny and very, very modern. And he was telling me all about it. And he got done and he stopped and I looked at him. I said, and you're welcome. And he said, what do you mean you're welcome? I said, I paid for this. But that was one of those cool ones that, I think we showed you guys last year. That was the one where we went down into the cellar, down into the original wine cellar that's from the 900s.
Yeah. The archaeologist said before it was from the 1100s. And then Epi, when he came back into town this last year, told me, no, they redated it. Evidently, it's the 900s. I'm like, was it your family? He goes, I don't know.
So that was cool.
But
all right, friends. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. We're over time.
Awesome.
I feel like everybody's having a good time. So thank you
Absolutely
very
awesome.
much for being here. George, great to see you again. Glad to have some West Coast friends again.
But does George ride too?
George rides too? Yep,
What do you ride, George?
I have a Kawasaki Eliminator. It's an entry-level lightweight cruiser.
Yeah, I know.
It's a gateway.
I just started
It's
riding
got
too.
2 wheels. It's awesome.
It's 2 wheels. It's good. Yep.
It's even awesome with 3, but it's awesome.
If you'd like to try out some other bikes, feel free to come out and we're just outside of Washington, D.C. and we have too many bikes in our garage. So
There's no such thing as too many. Although I got to tell you, Debbie's starting to harass me about having 2 bikes again.
well, we've got 3 and we have a 1-car garage that's become 3 motorcycles and 1 beer fridge garage. So
Jerry, did you ride to Guatemala?
No, I want to, but it's kind of dangerous, the route I'd have to go.
Yeah.
And my bike's a little bit big for down here.
I have a
The-
bike
the-
for you,
Oh,
The
Jerry.
cobblestone streets and stuff are a little bit
No,
different
you
down
just
here,
need a
man.
Royal Enfield. That's all
Royal
you need.
Enfield Himalayan. I got one for you, Jerry.
There you go.
There
No,
you go.
Mike, Rory rides a Goldwing, Jerry rides a Goldwing, and George and me and you, we ride real motorcycles.
Yeah.
Lori's not laughing.
But mine is comfortable and quiet.
Blah, blah. I have cruise.
Boy.
I have a gas gauge. Whatever, you guys.
Does
Mine,
yours
I
come with
can't outride
dog
the
in the back?
transmission.
Oh yeah, yours has a reverse gear, doesn't it?
Hmm.
All right, friends. All right, well, let's see. Jerry, would you like to lead us in the four-way test to end our meeting tonight?
Right when I got food in my mouth.
I know, I did that on purpose.
The five-way test of the things we think say or do. First, is it the truth?
True.
The truth.
Second, oh my God, is it
Is
fair
it fair
to
to
all?
all concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and
Build
better
better
friendship? And fourth, is it beneficial to all concerned? And
Concerned.
most importantly, especially this day and age, will it be fun?
It'll be fun.
And number
And
six,
the silent number 6, will we get caught?
Well, it's only fun if we don't get caught. I think that's redundant, Rory. All right, you guys, thank you.
awesome meeting. Thanks so much, Mike.
Oh,
No
no
problem.
meeting, no meeting next week, correct?
Nope.
Holiday week? All
Give
right.
out
We have
feedback.
no meetings now until January. In fact, I don't have any speakers scheduled. So if you guys got some ideas, hey, pop them to me.
I think we should do.
I had a blast last week. We had a low turnout, but last week when David talked, I really enjoyed that. And so I love hearing how people grew up and what they do in their lives and stuff. And so, George, hint, 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 hint.
Hint, hint.
And everybody else is
I'm thinking of maybe
I don't know how
writing to
at all
Phoenix.
how Mike grew up.
I'm
I'm sorry, George.
What was that?
I will plan on that, but yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at writing to Phoenix. I'm thinking I
After the
go down
first
to
of the year,
LA
George.
and then take I-10
Oh,
to
nice.
go to Phoenix,
Wow.
and this may
Just
be a
be
good
careful,
time to
because
ride because
I've
it's not too
taken
hot.
I-10. I've taken I-10 this time of year and ran into some nasty weather, so
Was
be
it
careful.
dust storms or?
no.
Oh, yeah.
10 when we took to
Texas.
Texas.
Mhm.
Yeah, we ran into an ice storm.
Yeah, nice one.
Ice storm. Ooh.
Ice storm.
Yeah. Pull up the Weather Channel right now. The West Coast weather is not nice.
Oh,
My most interesting I-10 story was I was working down there on an accident, okay? It's a depantsing story, a self-depantsing story, okay? I'm in the middle of this interstate in the middle of San Antonio, Texas, and measuring out the accident scene. And I had a theodolite set up, which is a big electronic measuring device, basically. And all of a sudden, my legs are burning. I had stood too close to a fire ant hill. My God, I had those pants off just as fast as you could get to get those damn things off me. And there's people going by laughing, knowing exactly what was going on.
Jerry,
I-10 sucks.
yeah, Jerry,
And,
his pants, Jackson.
and,
Look at that.
and Jerry, you may have figured it out. The fire ants have a system. They wait for all the ants to be on you before they start biting.
And the first
one
bite
that
is pretty damn close
climbs
to
your leg,
important
don't
parts,
bite.
man.
No, they wait.
Yeah, the first bite is pretty damn close to important parts.
I think so. Is 10 where
Mushrooms.
29 Palms is?
No. Well, yeah, kind of down that
So
way.
29 Palms, I loved going down that way because when I was stationed in Monterey, we went back home to Michigan and then we went back I restationed to California or to Texas. You go right past 29 Palms Marine Base and you go under an overpass or you go in an underpass and it's under Heat Seeking Missile Avenue. I was like,
I don't want to go fast there. I'm just gliding.
I did have one question, but I can deal with it on email. I saw the mail from Chris Jones today about the writing in, I think, IFMR in the Nordic capitals.
Yep.
Yeah. I just had some questions about how to get a bike.
Actually,
A
send me an
reasonable
email
cost.
and I'll copy you when time comes. One of the guys I rode with in India lives right there in Denmark. A guy named Jacob I don't remember his last name, but we have a question out to him, what is possible for renting bikes? Because some people do ship their bikes, but they've had some good and bad experiences. But we've got about 4 people that are interested in that, so it's going to depend on whether or not we can rent.
When's the timeline?
Oh, that's nice. Because
Yeah.
when I rode in India last January,
Yeah.
there was one gentleman from, I think he was from Sweden, who has a riding school and a whole array of motorcycles.
That's
Oh, in
Well-
Sweden.
I was trying to reach out to him.
Okay, if you learn something, let us know. Okay, let me know
Yeah,
as
I
well.
will.
There's about 4 people now that have written since this afternoon, since Chris's email, and they're asking all the same thing. If we can do this, what's possible for renting a motorcycle? So, fortunately, most of the rides around the world that put together a group like that generally already have a source for motorcycles. But this is kind of odd. This one's a little bit different, but it sounds extremely interesting.
Hey,
So-
Jerry. Yeah, I looked up when we were in Spain. I looked up renting motorcycles there. The only thing I could find really was they had a lot of enduros,
Mhm.
like my bike, like the Triumph Tiger, things like that, the BMWs, things like that. They had no, like, Harleys were not a thing.
Harley,
Maybe
what
Yeah,
the hell
you
is
don't-
that?
You really don't find Harleys anywhere besides
Yeah.
the United States. Not really.
And good
Yeah,
luck.
people want them if you can ship them. They want them, but
Yeah,
yeah.
well, good luck if you're 5'2" renting a motorcycle anywhere. That's all I gotta say.
Actually, the only Harley Davidsons you can find here in Guatemala are repurposed school buses. They get a kick out of putting the stainless steel plate on them or the chrome plates on them and say Harley Davidson.
And
And every time I see one, I take a picture and send to one of my friends. and there's
I've got a
Harley
buddy in Perth, Australia. He's a winemaker, and Nick sent piece by piece because in Australia they have all these taxes on motorcycles shipping them, and he wanted a Harley, and so he bought a Harley, and he had it piece by piece sent in little boxes, and then reassembled it there because he didn't have to pay the taxes if he built it in Australia, and
Mm.
so he has
So
a
very Johnny Cash.
Wow.
yeah, he has a bobber there now.
Actually, I got to look into it. I've got my red Goldwing sold if I want to ship it to Kenya. I'm not sure how. So
But just make them pay for the shipping.
it's a Rotarian I know there in Kenya, real nice guy, and he gave me crap when I sold my yellow one because he really wanted that one. And I'm like, okay.
It's all
So he's like, when you sell the red one, I want to know about it. So I just have to figure out how to ship it. So
I think you
Awesome,
should.
Amanda, you were talking about I-10. My fastest route from Temecula back home was 2.5 days
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
in a U-Haul.
Yeah, we were talking, I would love to tally up how many miles I think we have driven. I mean, I've put 30,000 miles on my brand new car since February. And when we were stationed out in we were stationed in California, we were stationed in Colorado, I would live down in Miami. We've done those trips. And I can't tell you how many times I've been home to Michigan 4 times in the new car since February. So we drove to
So you
Kentucky.
didn't stop by.
We were on the wrong side of Michigan. We were in Alpena, actually, most recently.
We jokingly say in this area, I'll talk to other people who are military spouses and stuff, and I said I was driving to Kentucky, and they said, I can't believe you're driving to Kentucky, and somebody else said, oh, military spouse, right? And I said, yeah. They said, yeah, 8 hours. Psh, that's nothing.
That's just
In Michigan, we don't talk about miles, we talk about hours.
Hours, right?
100%.
Yeah, we never do.
That's
No.
what we were talking on the way back from Jonathan's this weekend. Louisville, I think it's like 470 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
And Maggie down in St. Augustine is close to 700, maybe
700.
over 700. I swear I would rather do that drive any day. It's literally we don't jokingly we get onto 95. So from our house to 95 is about 30 miles. We get onto 95 and then it's like in 710 miles, turn left. And then we're at Maggie's house. Whereas going to Jonathan's house, it's like
Oh,
up through Maryland, across the Cumberland Gap on 68 and through the mountains of West Virginia. And so it's just, I hope he doesn't watch this.
yeah, 150 miles here in Guatemala is like a 12-hour drive.
Right,
So
exactly. That's even in Spain. I mean, we put
you're
3,000
lucky.
on the rental car in Spain and people thought we were nuts.
yeah. We said we were going to Rioja, and they were like, what?
What?
I'm like, I mean, it's like 5 hours.
It's no big deal.
What are you talking about?
So,
That was the first time Judy and I went to Alaska. We stopped at Whitehorse and we were going to uh, Eagle Creek in Alaska, or just south of Alaska. It was like, okay, well, hey, it's only, I think it was 300 miles, if that. So, well, we'll see you in about 5 hours. Well, Lee says, yeah, we'll see you about 8 o'clock tonight. Like, nah, we'll be there 3 or 4 hours max. She says, "We'll see you when you get here."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as soon as we cross, we made good time until we hit the one river, crossed the river, and then the road was like this for the next 180 miles.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why we joke at the miles. So my nephew's here from Spain, and I drove him to Maggie's. He wanted to go to a soccer camp at Flagler down in St. Augustine, and he waited till the last godforsaken minute to tell me that he'd been accepted to the camp. So I found out Wednesday, and so I was like, well, I guess on Thursday night we're gonna drive. So we drove, I guess Friday morning. We drove Friday straight down 95, like nothing like seeing the entirety of the Eastern Seaboard in 12 hours as your first trip in the United States. But he was just like, wow, it's so big. I'm like, yeah, bud, you're not seeing anything. Like if I were to take this boy on 70 and go west, I think he would lose his mind.
Yeah,
Right?
Jerry,
Like,
I had a rugby, I was playing rugby in Flint. We had a guy from Manchester, England come over and play with us. And I said to Neil, I said, where do you want to do this weekend? And he says, I want to go to LA.
Wow.
I said, okay.
Which airplane?
Yeah, I don't think there's any flights for that. And he says, why don't we just drive? And I said,
Oh, wow.
because it's going to take a week. He was like, it can't take a week. Yeah, it can.
really
Yeah.
can.
We had the Sorbonne actually come in New York, and they were supposed to play us. They came in on a Friday and they were supposed to play us on Saturday in Flint. And they did not understand how far New York was from Michigan. And they got into Pennsylvania and were like, what did we get ourselves into? And called us and said, can we make it Sunday evening? We're like, yep. And so they took another day to get there, and they went, America is so big. This is ridiculous.
They missed an opportunity because they could have come right across at Niagara and taken the 401, and the speed limit's 100.
Kilometers.
so
It's 100.
who has done the LA to Phoenix section of I-10?
We have.
Oh, yeah.
We have. Yeah.
It's in winter. I'm planning to go next week.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It's not
It'll be
bad.
dry.
I've been reading up. It said there shouldn't be any snow, and
No, it'll be windy. That's all.
Life's an adventure, and if you get the opportunity to change the trip, do it.
We actually did our
Good
our
trip.
25th is next week. And I know. And our honeymoon was driving back from Holly, Michigan to Monterey, California. The first
Wow.
week we spent in beautiful Fort Wayne, Indiana. And we
The Holodrome.
at the Holodrome.
I
And
sprung for the good thing.
yeah, it was New Year's Eve. We spent New Year's Eve in Fort Wayne, Indiana, but I couldn't go out because I wasn't 21. Anyway, so we woke up on New Year's Day and we're eating breakfast probably at a IHOP or something.
Yeah,
And
something.
decided we'd never seen the Grand Canyon before, so we drove straight through from Fort Wayne to the Grand Canyon.
Flagstaff.
No, we went to Grand Canyon. We stayed on the rim of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, we
that
stayed in the
night.
room in the Grand Canyon that night.
And that was a horrible hotel. And then we went and spent 4 days in Flagstaff. It was
Yep.
beautiful.
It was great. I love
But I will tell
Flagstaff.
you, Flagstaff at the end of December is very snowy. So don't go beyond Phoenix.
Gorgeous. Well, no, that's up north.
I
That's
know.
not right.
Don't go beyond
Yeah,
Phoenix.
that's 40. Yeah, so
Amanda and Mike, it's kind of cool watching you guys on the screen here because your position, for whatever reason, for Zoom on me right now, you're on the opposite sides on my
I keep
screen.
looking at him, but I'm looking away.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. That's
But,
kind of funny all the way around. So
yeah.
Alright, guys, I apologize. I gotta go do board slides. So
Oh, sorry.
BORED slides for our BORED meeting.
I got a board report to write.
All right. Thanks again, Mike. Appreciate you. Love you. Love you guys. Thank
We
you
love
very
you too, Mike.
Love you. Take care.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
You
Thanks,
too.
guys.
Merry
Thanks so much.
bye bye.
It was a blast.
Alright.